I just said, today we're going to talk about the two different levels of the legislative branch. The federal level being Congress. All right. So, how many houses does Congress have? You should know this. Two. And so, therefore, what can we refer to it as? Bicameral, or a two-house legislature. Identify the two houses for me, please. House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay. So let's talk about the House of Representatives. How many members are there in the United States House of Representatives? 435 members. That consists of members from every state. Also, places like the District of Columbia, which is not a state. It's a district. It's our nation's capital. All right? Now, if you are, is it always been 435? No, it changes. What might be some things that cause it to change? All right. Have we always had 50 states? Could we add another state? Sure, we could add another state. Have to add another star on the flag, but that's nothing we haven't done, 37 times before. So, this number can change. Now, every 10 years, the number each state has can change, and that's because what the number of representatives each state has is based on what? Population. So, number of reps each state has is proportional to that state's population. What this is called it's called apportionment. Apportionment. That number 435 is apportioned out to each state based upon the size of the state. So California has 53 of those 435. That's how large the state of California is. Texas has a bunch as well. Alaska has, they have one. Yeah, they have one. I'm not sure. New York's, it's got a significant population in New York City. But not outside of that. Albany's a pretty good sized place. Buffalo. So, it's much larger than West Virginia. Absolutely.
Is California?
There's more people in the city of New York than there are in the state of West Virginia. Yeah, that's how large New York is, okay? There's a world outside Coal City, guys, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah. All right. Anyway, the number is based on each state's representation. How do we know how many people are in each state? We do a census every 10 years, and years that end in 0. Okay, so our next census will be 2030. So I believe the results from the 2020 census should be available. Okay, so apportionment occurs every 10 years with the census. I don't know why I chose such small font. I don't like it. I apologize. That says apportionment occurs every 10 years with the census. So we just do the census. Like, whose idea was it to do the census? Like, is it a bill? Is it like a law that Congress made? Did they do this, or? It's in the Constitution. When they made the Great Compromise to determine, should we have a unicameral legislature, bicameral? When they compromised, they said we're going to do it like this, and the way in which we're going to know what the population is we're going to do an official count of the population every 10 years. Hence the name census. All right. If you are elected to the United States House of Representatives, how long is your term? How long is your term? It's not 6 years. It's not 5 years.
7, 4,
2. You guys are so smart. So smart. 2-year term. Okay? Each representative serves a 2-year term. All right, now what state do you live in? West Virginia. West Virginia. Is our state big in population or small in population? One of the smallest states in terms of apportionment in the House of Representatives. And West Virginia currently has how many members in the House? 3. Their names are David McKinley, Alex Mooney, and Carol Miller. Carol Miller is the one that represents the district in which you live, and all three are Republicans. Hence why I wrote all the Republicans in red. In the future, you'll just see their names written in red or blue. David McKinley, Alex Mooney, and Carol Miller. And these can change. How frequently? Every 2 years, whenever their term is up. Now, if Carol Miller wins an election, and how many elections are you allowed to serve? How many terms can you serve? Unlimited. There are unlimited terms. You keep winning, you keep remaining a member. I think Nick Rahal won like 18 elections. He was our representative for several, like 30 years. Okay? So currently, though, West Virginia has 3. There's potential for that number to go down as a result of our population decreasing. Okay? Here's what they look like. Here they are. David McKinley, Alex Mooney, and Carol Miller. Carol Miller is one that represents you. So when you guys vote, you reside in the 3rd district, and so you are constituents of the 3rd district. So that's the election that you will vote for. Okay, you do not get to elect the 1st and 2nd district because you're not constituents of that. You guys remember what the word constituent means? You're not a part of that voting district. People in that voting district, like you can't vote for the governor of North Carolina. You're not constituents of that election. You are constituents of the 3rd district here. Okay? Questions on that? All right, so now here's a little bit more Congress info. That was the U.S. House of Representatives. What's the other house? Senate. How many senators are there in the United States?
100.
There are 100 members or 100 senators within the United States Senate. That's pretty easy to figure out because there are 50 states and each state has 2. Each state has 2 members. So this one's based on that small plan. You know, when the Great Compromise was made, big states wanted to be based on population apportionment, and small states wanted it to be based on equality. The Senate is created out of equality. Doesn't matter if you are Wyoming or if you're California. Wyoming has 2 senators. California has 2 senators. It's based on equality. Let's see. If you are elected to the Senate, how many years is your term? 6-year term.
We guessed it every other time. That's how we guessed it.
No, we guessed it.
You guys got it totally right. I'm taping it for YouTube, guys. Make you look smart. When elected, a senator serves a 6-year term, so it's 3 times as long. 3 times as long. So in the state of West Virginia, like every other state, how many do we have? 2. Does anybody know who they are? Shelley Moore Capito and Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin's name is written in blue because he is a Democrat in name. And then Shelley Moore Capito is a Republican. Joe is our senior senator, meaning he's been senator longer. And then Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley Moore Capito just recently won an election in 2020, so she will be serving for 6 more years. I think Joe has about 4 more years to go on his term. Senator Manchin.
Teachers, at this time, we need J through N as in Nancy, sophomores. J through N as in Nancy, sophomores, to the gym, please, and thank you.
Okay, so questions on these people or the office that they hold of United States Senate? Okay, so that's Congress. Now that's the federal level of the legislative branch. The state level, we'll do West Virginia of the legislative branch, is called what?
U.S. is the West Virginia legislature.
West Virginia State Legislature. Okay? It also is bicameral, meaning it has two houses, the House of Delegates and the West Virginia State Senate. If you say that the West Virginia State Legislature is bicameral and it's the House of Representatives in the West Virginia State Senate, that's wrong. It's not called the House of Representatives. It's called the House of Delegates. And our Capitol building is structured very similar to the United States Capitol building. Have you guys ever seen the Capitol in Charleston? Anybody ever seen the Capitol in Washington?
Yes.
They look kind of similar. And in fact, our Capitol building is structured very similarly.
Most of the time, whenever we go to Charleston,
Mhm.
we're always doing it,
Yeah.
and ours has like plastic.
Yeah.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah, okay. Under the dome, it's called the Capitol Rotunda, and off the rotunda there are two chambers. Each chamber is for each house. One serves the House and one serves the Senate. They don't meet in the same room. They each have their own rooms. One's got more seats in it because it has more people in it. Which one do you think has more people in it?
House of Delegates.
The House of Delegates. That's right, because it has more members. All right, just like the House of Representatives does in the United States Congress. Okay, so yeah, you got your two houses, House of Delegates, and it has 100 total members. There are 100 people in the state of West Virginia that are elected to the House of Delegates. Very similar to a House of Representative member. How long is their term? If it's similar to the House of Representatives, it would be every 2 years. When elected, delegates serve a 2-year term. There are 67 election districts in West Virginia. And I'm going to show you yours later. So there are 67 districts. If it's, Charleston, they're going to have smaller districts. Why would they have smaller districts?
Bigger population.
More people. Places that have less population, there might be 2 or 3 counties comprised in one district. But places like Charleston will have multiple. Okay? So there are 67 districts in the West Virginia State Legislature. And I'm assuming that all you guys live in Raleigh County. And depending upon where you live in Raleigh County, there are one of 3 people that could represent you, because Raleigh County has 3 election districts. We have a pretty significant size, for the state of West Virginia. Our population is one of the larger areas. It's not quite Huntington, Charleston, Morgantown, Martinsburg, but it's a top 10 area in the state of West Virginia. So, do you guys know the 3 representatives that represent from Raleigh County? Well, the first is probably the one that represents the majority of you, and his name is Brandon Steele. Brandon Steele. Do you guys remember Ricky Moy? He was a bus driver here. Brandon Steele defeated Ricky Moy a couple elections ago and overtook him. His name's in red because he's a Republican. For the majority of the city of Beckley, you would have Mick Bates. And I have Mick Bates' name written in blue, and that is not correct. Mick Bates switched his party allegiance after he won his last election, and he is now a Republican. And you can do that. Our governor did it.
You can just get elected and switch.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep. Governor Justice did it like a month after he won the first election. He ran as a Democrat and then switched. Mick Bates has done the same thing. He is now a Republican. And then the third is a guy who is a bus driver currently. I think he used to drive from our school. Is Chris Toney. Chris Toney. All right. Then my next three slides, I have pictures of these gentlemen and the districts, a map of the district in which they serve. Okay? So chances are you probably live in the 29th district under Brandon Steele, because as you can see, if you live in Crab Orchard, Sophia, MacArthur, Mabscott, Coal City, Helen, Rodale, this is all us right here. This is it. Like, basically, this is the independent school district. Okay, do you see this? With the exception of like maybe Beaver and Mabscott. You take Beaver and Mabscott away, this is your school district. Okay, so I would imagine that many of you would live in the 29th district and would be, and Brandon Steele would be your representative. So when you guys vote, probably this year you will be voting in the 29th. I think he's up for election. If he's not up for election this year, it'll be next year. Okay, because they only serve 2-year terms. So this is the one that you vote in if you live, and most likely you do, given that you live, go to Independence. Okay, so how many of you guys live in the 29th district? Maybe where you live. You live there too? Does everybody live in the 29th district? Everybody lives in Beckley? Okay. I live in Beckley. And Mick, I fixed his name on this one. Mick Bates is my representative, and he represents basically the city of Beckley, all the wards of Beckley. Okay? So, let's see, Route 3. I live like right here. And so I'm sorry. I live here, okay, like Robert C. Byrd Drive and Harper Road. I live like right there. So yeah, Mick Bates would be my representative, okay? So this is like downtown Beckley. This is like where Crossroads Mall is up here. This would be like where Lowe's is. Basically the city of Beckley, okay? And Mick was a Democrat, now he's a Republican. And all these people live in our community. Like, Brandon Steele, I think he's an attorney in Beckley. Mick, he owns Body Works. You guys know Body Works? Yeah, he goes to my church. Okay. And then the 31st district. What parts of Raleigh County is left, basically? Liberty area. Okay. So there's actually a part of Raleigh County, as you can probably tell from this map. The Shady Spring area is not part of, I didn't put it up there, okay? There's a whole other district for Shady Spring people. We don't need them anyway, right?
Yes.
That's a joke, YouTube people. Okay. All right, so, but Chris Toney, he represents a significant portion of Raleigh County and a small portion of Wyoming County, all the way over to Oceana, okay? Now these districts, they can be changed. It's called, they can be, the election lines can be changed. It's called gerrymandering whenever you change an election district. But these are the people that represent you. So depending upon where you live, so this will be like everything west of like Ruby Tuesday down to Oceana. Okay, and that's Chris Toney. And he got all the way up, all the way up to Whitesville near Charleston, Kanawha County. Okay? Okay, so those are your three people in our area. In the election districts of the West Virginia House of Delegates. Does everyone know which district you live in? Everybody knows. Okay. All right, so that's the House of Delegates. What's the other house in the West Virginia State Legislature? The State Senate. Okay. Now the State Senate has larger districts. Has much larger districts. The district that you definitely live in is this district, because it's both Wyoming and Raleigh and part of McDowell County. Raleigh, Wyoming, and part of McDowell County is the election district that you live in for the West Virginia State Senate. Okay? Now, if you are elected, the West Virginia State Senate only has 33 members. There's 55 counties. but there's only 33 senators. That's why there's sometimes multiple counties are put together. Okay? So our election district that we live in is multiple counties. All of Raleigh, all of Wyoming, part of McDowell. Okay? So there's 33 members in the West Virginia State Senate. When they are elected, they serve a 4-year term. A 4-year term. Hello? Okay. Have a nice day, dear. So you serve a 4-year term. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm almost done. Okay, cool. But if you gotta go, you gotta go. Okay. All right. So when elected, you serve a 4-year term, and there are 17 senatorial districts. Our district's called District 9. Wasn't there a movie called District 9?
Yeah.
Where there was like aliens and stuff?
Yeah.
That sounds about right for our area. You guys been to Walmart lately and seen these people?
We go that one.
Anyway, I digress. We live in District 9 as far as the Senate goes. And there of the 17 districts. And that's what it looks like. It's comprised of mainly Raleigh and Wyoming counties, but as you can see, there is a little smidge of McDowell included as well. Part of McDowell, not all by any means. And this entire area is apportioned to senators. Now, the way in which they do this is that somewhere along in here, there's a line, it's probably the border between Raleigh and Wyoming, where these people vote for one, and these people vote for one. Okay? So, each part of our district is kind of apportioned to senators, and they kind of cut it in half as far as who you can vote for. All right? So, does anybody know who our West Virginia state senators are? We have 2 that represent us where we live. Anybody know one? Okay. The Wyoming and McDowell County one, who just won, he just won election, is Bugs Stover. Bugs. His name's David. Everybody calls him Bugs. You guys know Bugs? Anybody know Bugs? These are people that live in our community. It's not like they're, superheroes. Maybe they are. I don't know. And then this gentleman lives in Raleigh County, and he represents probably you. And his name's Roland Roberts. I think he operates a school in Beaver, a Christian school in Beaver. He has what's it called? Trinity Christian. Is that in Beaver? Not a big fan of public education or people like me. Okay, that being educators in public schools. But I mean, guy owns a school, private school. So why would he be in favor of public school? So, and that's totally cool. That's his prerogative. But these are our state senators, the people that represent us. Questions on these? All these are gentlemen. Bugs defeated Sue Klein in the last election. You guys ever heard of Sue? Okay. What's his nickname? Yeah. Bugs. It's pretty cool. Maybe he likes Looney Tunes. What's up, Doc? Yeah, he's a good old boy for sure. Okay, so questions on these 2 levels of the legislative branch. Everybody is clear on them? Okay.